Hey guys, Mindstone here. So today we are back with Hunter for the Witchwood deck reveal, or well, review at least. So it's going to be Cube Hunter. I bet that maybe some of you have heard about an archetype that was, well, Cube Hunter before the release of Kobolds and Catacombs. It was theorized that cubes would fit very well in Hunter since they had good targets for it, such as Savannah and Highmane and others, and they had a way to trigger it pretty reliably. However, that didn't happen, as most of us know. Warlock got well, they got cubes, and Cube was really good in Warlock. But Hunter is not out of means to make cubes good, so this is why I've brought it. I think the deck is still super scary, and there's definitely ways to make it quite efficient. So with that being said, we'll get right into the list. The first card up is Candle Shot. Candle Shot is super powerful because it helps you kill small minions and, well, you don't even take damage for it. So it's very, very imminent for beating down on aggro decks since, well, they do exactly that, play small minions that you wish to kill. So yeah, it's pretty bad against control, but it's worth it for the anti-aggro matchup, I believe. So yeah, even though I'm always in doubt about the card because I feel like it's just so bad when you're playing against a control deck. But nonetheless, with this sort of meta that we have right now with all the aggro paladin running around, I think it's definitely worth it. Then we've got Dynamo. So Dynamo's in there simply because it's a good one drop. It's not fancy or anything, it's good if you play it on turn 1. So of course it's in your mulligan just as Candle Shot is. However, I do think it's not a card that I'm very happy about. But it's needed still since aggro paladin is running Rampart and we need to be able to rush down other control decks. So yeah, we're playing midrange. I don't think that comes as a big surprise anyways. And then we've got Play Dead, which is one of the engines of the deck. Combined with Carnivorous Cube, this card is miraculous. Summoning 2 copies of a pretty big target is just super strong for 1 mana, and is often the reason that the cubes can go completely out of hand. Of course, there's other death rattles in the deck, but targeting them is usually not as good as targeting a cube, with the exception of really important um, what are they called? Zombies. Yeah, there's some zombies that it makes sense to trigger as well, but still, Playdead is super powerful, and I think beyond doubt the combo with the cube is what enables the deck. Yeah, then we've got Crackling Razor Maul. So it's in there because it's a good 2-drop. Usually you're not going to play it without the Battle Cry because the Battle Cry is really good. But sometimes I've played it anyways simply because well, I needed the tempo at that point, right? And I think it's decent for that too. The stats are good and the Battle Cry just makes it overstated, if you can say that. Yeah, and yeah, there's not much to it. It's a pretty aggressive card and you're going to mulligan for it about every time. They've got Plated Beetle, just like Razor Maul. This is also a mulligan card, and it's more the defensive version. I feel like it's in there for beating aggro, right? And but it's still pretty good against control. A 2/3 body is just good, right? There's not much at that. So yeah, there I really don't have a lot to say. It's just a solid minion. And it's a beast, which is always lovely. Then we've got Animal Companion. Yeah, so Animal Companion is just amazing, right? All the 3 companions are above average, so you don't really care what you roll, even though in some situations, some of them are going to be better than others. I just wanted to actually put another note on those 2-drops I talked about before. The problem with this deck is that you have, well, it's not a problem with the deck, but it's a problem in general that there's not that many good 2-drops, so the deck might have a little bit of trouble with that. That's why we're playing Play the Beetle and Race More. And we'd love to play more, but it's not really happening at the moment because all the 2-drops are so bad for this deck. Yeah, but enough about that. Let's get on to the next card, Eaglehorn Bow. So Bow is honestly just there because you like face damage, you like killing things with weapons, and Bow does that. You don't have any secrets, but still, it's pretty decent. So yeah, it's kind of good. It's like Fury War Axe, just costs a little bit more. Well, it costs the same now, but it costs more than the pre-nerf Fury War Axe. Yeah, and then we've got Kill Command. I think this card is just a stable in Hunter because it's 3 mana, deal 5 damage, which is like pretty equivalent to Fireball. So yeah, it's just it's solid in a way, and you don't have to hold on to it forever to try to do 5 damage. If you can kill something important with 3 damage, that's just fine. Then you should go ahead and do that. It's not terrible. But of course, the potential comes from the 5 damage. That's where you get the most tempo out of it. You should note, though, that kill command is a really good way of killing the enemy, so at times it might be worth holding it back instead of using it as removal, which is like the primary use in this deck, but at times it's really good for just killing the enemy, which is something you're going to be utilizing a lot too. Then we've got Double Unleash the Hounds. I think I talked about how aggro is a plague at the moment, so Double Unleash is for those aggro decks. It's also just, it can be used as burst or some disposable 1/1s, but I think they're just in there for aggro decks. I would definitely consider cutting one of them. Actually, that's probably the most techy card of the list. Yeah, but still, it's cool enough. Then we've got Flanking Strike. So I think Flanking Strike is a good 4-drop, if you can say so. Instead of thinking about it as a spell that deals 3 damage and summons a 3/3, I'm going to think of it as a minion, a 3/3 minion that deals 3 damage as a battle cry. Just because it's not removal, honestly, sure it's removal, right? Because you do something with it, but I'm not thinking about it as removal. I'm thinking about it as a minion, which has a beneficial battle cry, and by that I mean a good 4-drop. So yeah, it's just another 4-drop really, and it's a pretty solid one. Yeah, then we've got Houndmaster. Houndmaster is just disgustingly good. If you think of it as that he buffs himself when he buffs another creature, which is going to happen pretty often, he's a 6/5 for 4 mana with Taunt. That's pretty damn dumb. And even part of the stats have charge, right? Because you put it on something which is already on the board. And the taunt is lovely too. So there's so many good things about this guy. And sometimes, right, you can play him without getting the buff, but the buff is really good when you get it. It's often enough to snowball the game and make you able to deal a lot of damage to the enemy. Yeah. Then we've got Spirit Singer Umbra. So I feel like Umbra is not essential to the deck, but she is definitely the reason that it can just steal away a lot of wins. So I think the deck is really all about utilizing Umbra well. Of course, yeah. So what Umbra does is that when you play her and she's not cleared, you probably just win the game. She's like a catalyst of some sort, right? Because all your death rattles are going to go absolutely crazy when she's on the board. Especially Cube, honestly, because if you eat something while she's on the board, it's going to be respawned instantly. And you're still going to have the Cube, which will summon 2 more copies of whatever it ate. So Umbra's pretty damn disgusting with cubes, and really all you care about is getting that cube death rattle a lot more times, and Umbra does that. So it's a super amazing card, and it kind of makes you able, well, just to do your cube a little bit earlier than otherwise, and to get more value out of it. A neat trick I like with Umbra is doing a fast forward, which is essentially putting Umbra down on turn 4 or 5, and then on turn 6 playing the cube or another death rattle. So instead of playing them on the same turn, which is what you would usually do to ensure that Umbra's effect will happen, instead you make sure that you play Umbra in a turn where it cannot be contested, and then you play the death rattle the turn after, essentially granting you a big turn with a lot of mana early in the game, which is super powerful if you manage it. So yeah, and then the star of the deck and its namesake, Carnivore's Cube. I think Cube is amazing, right? You get so much value out of it if you eat a Death Rattle, because you get to trigger the Death Rattle and summon more bodies. So yeah, but you should be afraid to not eat Death Rattle minions. If you can eat something like, say, a Razormaw, that might just be good at times if you're pressured. I felt like that in a lot of cases, it's just you need to get the cubes down and working more than you need to hold on to them. The deck is a mid-range deck, so at times it's good to hold on to them and play the controlling game, but I feel like most decks are either going to out-control you by a fair margin, or they're going to rush you down. So a lot of times it's just about getting the tempo out there, which is why cube is just, you shouldn't be too, at least, you shouldn't hold it back too much. You shouldn't hold it back too much. I think that's what I want to say. However, it's probably one of the hard parts about the deck, just like using Umbra. So it's something you learn by with experience. Yeah. Then we've got Harrison Jones. He's a deck card. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody seeing him in the list, but it's because I don't like weapons and I like card draw, so Harrison's in there. I think it would surprise you how many times I've killed Vine Cleavers with Harrison. It's quite immense actually, because removing a Vine Cleaver or something like that, a Scroll of the Manari, is just huge in those matchups. So yeah, at least he's pretty good, and there's a lot of weapons going around, so I feel like he's warranted. But again, if you don't see any weapons, feel free to take him out of there, or if you don't have Harrison. I would consider, however, at the present playing weapon removal, because I feel like you need that a lot. Acidic Swarm Boost is a fine tech card that can serve as Harrison if you don't have him. Also, because you need more 2-drops, so that makes Ooze pretty good. Yeah, then we've got Karen. So Karen's one of our big Death Rattle minions that sort of help make the disgusting plays. So if you can cube Karen, that's probably your best target. It's just because the body's pretty big, and getting his Death Rattle is good, and getting more of him and more Death Rattles is super immense. So I feel like Karen's just in there because he's solid, and you're often going to get away with dropping Karen, and nobody's going to clear him because he is pretty big, honestly. Having to kill a 4/5 twice is pretty annoying. So yeah. Then we've got Deathstalker Rexar. The battle cry is lovely board clear, and the hero power is just disgusting, actually. First, when I saw Rexar, when he was revealed back in the Frozen Throne, I wasn't actually happy about him. I think it was the death I liked the least, because Hunter was all about killing the enemy. So the hero power was, of course, super important, right? But what happens is that the hero power doesn't really do all that much anymore. It's still good, right? You can still kill a lot of people with it, and at times it can be wrong playing the Rexar. But at that time, back in the Frozen Throne, it was all about killing people as fast as possible with Hunter, and the hero power didn't help you with that. So the way you play this card, I think, is different. You don't play it when you're about to rush the enemy down. That's not what it's in there for. You play it when you have to outlast the enemy, when you have to have more value. In that case, the hero power is completely disgusting, and the zombies you can build are super large and scary, so you should definitely care about that. I think there's a few cards that I want to just talk about that you can sort of fish out of this guy. So there's the Cave Hydra, first of all. I think that one is just amazing, right? It just couples so well with about any card you could find. So therefore, it's pretty good. So you should often pick Cave Hydra if you get the chance, especially with Poisonous. So, and Poisonous is also very good with another card, which is Exploding Bloatbat. If you can pick Poisonous Beast and Bloatbat, the explosion is going to clear the enemy board, considering there is no Divine Shields on it, but it's going to clear every minion that it damages, which is pretty damn scary. So, I think those two are especially important noting, because they're just pretty powerful, and the effects often couple very well with poisonous minions and other, well, minions in general. So yeah, and we've got Savannah Highmane, which is the last card of the list. So it's big, it's got a valuable death rattle, and it's just an all-time hunter stable. There's not much to say about it. It's powerful. That's about it. You should note that the deck rounds off the list with the biggest thing being a 6-drop. That's obviously a little bit of a problem for keeping your hand size healthy, but Deathstalker Rexar helps with that, and I think it's still important to Hunter to do this, because you need to be putting the pressure, and having too many high cost cards would stop you from doing that. Also because your card draw is so terrible that if you draw any of these high cost cards, you just have to play them. You have to use them because you don't have anything else, which means that you'll have to play the long game. So I don't really mind having a lot of low cost cards. It feels pretty good, and the deck can definitely control or play as a control deck anyways. However, you should note that you'll be top decking at times, so that's a problem, right? Especially because there's this combo orientation in the deck, but I think it's still pretty fair. So, without further ado, I think we'll get into an example game. So, here we are, going into an example game with the Cube Hunter. So, I think we're going to be looking for either aggro or at least not heavy control. I don't feel very good about playing against heavy control because I feel like it's often very hard to kill them. However, Spitefuls would be fine. Nonetheless, it seems like we're going to be playing against aggro, so let's mulligan like that. We're going to keep Dynamo and keep Candle Shot, but throw that kill command, just because it doesn't really help us against aggro. So if we're lucky and this is like odd Paladin, I prefer odd Paladin to even with this kind of hand, because they're a little bit faster and we can more easily outlast them. But oh gosh, well, even going to take a little bit more time outlasting, if that's the way we're going to do it. But we're getting a really good start here, so we might actually just be the aggressor. So, and he doesn't have any 1-drops, so we're most likely going to expect hero power, even though he could count something out as well. Seeing the movement in his cards, he was considering it, but chose to not go for it. And this looks pretty bad. We're going to take Divine Shield. It's not good, right? But we're going to trade because we want to keep the board steady. With the Deathstalker, we should have a fairly good chance of outlasting him if we get it established early. So we're already leaning towards playing the control deck. And there we have the infamous Armani Berserker. And the bow comes out perfectly to answer it. So now you see what I mean by not liking Candle Shot. Having 2 of them is pretty terrible. Like, 1 is amazing against aggro if you're getting overrun, but 2 of them while you're ahead, that's not very funny. We'll find a solution, I'm not in doubt about that, but it's still pretty annoying. Let's see. Play dead? Yeah, whatever. I guess that's useful. We're still getting frag damage onto him, which is decent. It's not that something we care about a lot, but it's lovely enough. We're expecting Call to Arms, I believe, because that's a pretty good turn. But we'll see. He should not be able to do much about this. Okay. Yeah, so Trussel is fine, right? Because it just means we're going to be stalling for Rexar. We have too many weapons right now, so I think we should just get some damage into his face. I'm considering to unequip this for the Eagle Horn Bow, but I don't think I will, because if he's doing something, he's doing Call to Arms, right? And we can clear anything that he summons with Call to Arms with Rexar and the Candle Shot anyway, so it's just going to be wasting charges. And I think we're going to play Rexar onto this, simply because the board's annoying enough, and we don't really have anything better, and that means we can start generating some beasts, which is going to be lovely. We still have the Candle Shot. I feel like wasting 1 charge of it is fine if we have to play the Eagle Horn Bow, and it's actually fine that we can do something else than playing it and still have a weapon. And we don't want to pop that right away if we can avoid it. I don't think it matters a lot, but I'd rather just kill that one. So we're going to generate a Sun Beast. So looking at these, I like Bear Shock a lot because the others don't really have any beneficial abilities. So we're going to pick Bear Shock. And we're going to pick Stone Tusk Boar for getting something with charge. That seems pretty lovely. And we're going to clear that. And since he's going to be playing 1/1s, I'm just considering, should we play Eagle Horn? Yeah, I think we should play Eagle Horn actually. Because Unleash the Hounds will clear the 1/1s. So we don't need to have another Candle Shot right now. And he'll go for Spike Rigging, it seems. No, Avenging Wrath. I don't like that choice, honestly. I think it's way too passive. It makes sense in the context that he doesn't want to play anything which is going to be killed by my weapon. But honestly, he's not pressuring me right now, which means my hero power is going to be generating value. Now, it doesn't make things any worse that I just drew a huge high main, which is going to be pretty threatening. Now, this one isn't terribly good, but the stats are nice, and it's going to be dangerous, so it'll work. So we're just generating a little arsenal of beasts here. That will be disposable answers. The Spellbreaker comes down. I'm not terribly afraid of that. The Death Rattle was good, but it wasn't quintessential for me. And here, so I know he's got the ability to repopulate the board, so I don't really care too much about clearing it, to be honest. Looking at this, I think the Rhino is going to be the most threatening. And I'm considering the Leech because that means we can play it this turn. But having my beasts get charged forever is really tempting as well. And the game seems to be going on pretty slowly right now, so I think we're going to pick the Giant Wasp. And we're going to actually put some pressure on him with clearing his board and going face. So this one's not really something he can clear right now, so we're going to try to pressure him this way. It's quite scary, honestly, because next turn we can either charge with this or this, and well, we're going to take this if we're trying to kill him, and he has to clear this. If he does not, if he does clear, we can still play this guy and make sure our beasts have charge forever, essentially. So there's a pretty good chance he's going to be done here, actually. I don't think he can defend himself against this kind of board. Okay, so there comes the Equality Consecration. That's just fine. We don't care about that. It means he's got too little mana to actually do anything useful. Yeah, we're going to see 3 recruits, most likely. But that's just alright. We can definitely live with it. I believe we'll be seeing the zombies go down. However, the Umbra high main's not terrible either. I do like the zombies more though. So the Bear Shark still seems good. And Lifesteal, I suppose, is decent too. So we can't kill him right now, so we're just gonna hold it off. Hope he doesn't have another equality, because without another equality, he's completely unable to clear it, which means that our Spirit Singer Umbra plus High Main combo will be absolutely devastating. So there's a Stegodon. He's most likely looking for attack or taunt. Or poisonous, apparently. I suppose if he doesn't get taunt, yeah, we just win that. Right, because we're going to play Umbra and we're going to play this guy. And now they all have charge, right? So that's 10 damage. And we'll put him down. So there you go, seeing the mid-range, just floating him all the time, playing bigger things, and finally ending the game. It was a pretty aggressive game, honestly, and I didn't expect it to be this aggressive against even Paladin, but it happens to be the way that he didn't really have a good way of defending himself, and we got the Stalker Rexa really early, so we got to generate these super powerful zombies. You just saw how efficient they were, and we got to finish it with the Umbra. A little Umbra combo. No cubes this game though, but that's okay. The deck can still play as a mid-range deck. I have to just make the remark that we got an amazing start with the Diamond and the Candle Shot, so that was quite essential to our victory here. So have a nice day, and I hope you enjoyed the video.